The arrival. It was a warm Friday evening when Jordan and Mia stepped out of their car in front of the upscale restaurant, Le Gourmet. The golden lights sparkled, and the sound of laughter and clinking glasses floated through the air. This was a special night for the young couple. They were celebrating their anniversary, and they wanted it to be perfect. Jordan, dressed in a crisp blue shirt and dark jeans, looked over at Mia. She was wearing a beautiful black dress that made her look stunning. Her smile shone brighter than the restaurant lights. "Are you ready for this?" he asked, his excitement bubbling up. Mia nodded, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. As they walked up the stairs to the entrance, Mia took Jordan's hand. "I can't wait to try the food. I heard their desserts are amazing," she exclaimed. Jordan squeezed her hand in agreement. They could already taste the delicious dishes in their minds. They had saved up for this dinner, wanting to treat themselves to a night of joy and celebration. When they reached the door, they were greeted by a tall host. He wore a suit and had a stern expression. As they approached the stand, the host looked at them and raised an eyebrow. "Do you have a reservation?" he asked, his tone cold and dismissive. Jordan, slightly taken aback, replied, "No, but we were hoping to get a table for two." He tried to keep his voice steady, despite feeling the weight of the host's disapproving gaze. The host glanced at his clipboard, shaking his head. "I'm sorry, but we are fully booked for the night. You'll need to leave," he said bluntly. Mia's heart sank. She felt a wave of embarrassment wash over her. "Please, can't we just sit at the bar?" she asked, hoping to salvage their special night. But the host remained firm. "I said we're full," he repeated, his voice leaving no room for discussion. As the couple turned to leave, they caught a glimpse of a group of white guests being seated without hesitation, laughter erupting among them. Jordan's face turned red with anger. "Did you see that?" he whispered to Mia, frustration lacing his voice. "They're letting them in while turning us away." Mia nodded, her eyes filling with tears. "I can't believe this is happening. We came here to celebrate, and now." "This," she said, her voice trembling. Feeling humiliated, they walked away from the restaurant, the joy of the evening quickly fading into a feeling of injustice. They found a nearby park and sat on a bench, trying to process what had just happened. "I can't believe they treated us like that," Jordan said, running his hand through his hair. "It feels so unfair." Mia looked down, her heart heavy. "It's not just unfair, Jordan. It's racist. They didn't even give us a chance," she replied. "Why do people have to be like this?" As they sat in silence, the warmth of the evening felt colder now. Jordan pulled out his phone, scrolling through social media, looking for something to distract them. Suddenly, he saw a post from Lisa, a friend from college. "Black Lives Matter. Stand up against discrimination," it read. He thought about how many people faced similar situations and felt a spark of determination. "What if we did something about this?" Jordan said suddenly. "We can't just let it go. We have to tell someone." Mia looked at him, a glimmer of hope appearing in her eyes. "What do you mean?" "There's that food critic, Ben Harper, who writes for the City magazine. He's known for speaking out about racism in restaurants. We should reach out to him," Jordan suggested, his voice growing stronger. Mia nodded slowly, her heart racing with excitement. "Yes, let's do it. We can share our story, and maybe he can help us bring attention to this." They both agreed, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. As they walked back to their car, they discussed how they would write their email. They wanted to explain what had happened, not just for themselves, but for others who might face the same humiliation. Just as they got in the car, Jordan glanced back at the restaurant, his anger bubbling beneath the surface. "I won't let them get away with this," he said fiercely. "We deserve to be treated with respect, just like anyone else." Mia put her hand on his shoulder. "We will make sure our voices are heard. We can't be silent about this," she said, her determination matching his. As they drove home, they started drafting their email to Ben Harper. They poured their hearts into it, detailing the night's events and their feelings of hurt and anger. They knew this could be a long shot, but they were ready to take a stand. With each word they typed, they felt more empowered. They weren't just victims, they were advocates for change. They knew they had to do something, not just for themselves, but for all those who had been mistreated. That night, as they sent the email, Jordan and Mia felt a sense of hope. They were taking the first step toward justice. Little did they know, their actions would lead to a surprising turn of events that would leave them, and the restaurant owner, speechless. As they fell asleep, they held on to that hope tightly, ready to face whatever came next. The response. The next morning, the sun streamed through the curtains, and Jordan woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. He had barely slept the night before, his mind racing with thoughts of the email they sent to Ben Harper. He rolled over to see Mia still asleep, her face peaceful and relaxed. He smiled at her, feeling grateful to have such a strong partner by his side. After a quick breakfast, Jordan decided to check his phone for any updates. He felt a flutter of excitement mixed with anxiety. What if Ben had read their email? What if he wanted to help? He opened his email app, and his heart raced when he saw a reply from Ben Harper. Subject: Your story was the title. He quickly tapped on it, his hands slightly shaking. Dear Jordan and Mia, the email began. Thank you for reaching out. I appreciate you sharing your experience at Le Gourmet. Your story is important, and I would like to discuss it further. Jordan's heart leaped. He read on, feeling a mix of hope and nervousness. I would love to meet with you both and hear more about what happened. I believe that stories like yours need to be shared to bring about change. Let's meet at my office tomorrow at 3 p.m. Jordan could hardly contain his excitement. He nudged Mia awake gently. Mia, wake up. You won't believe this. Mia stirred, blinking sleepily. What is it? I checked our email. Ben Harper wants to meet with us. He wants to hear our story. Jordan exclaimed, practically bouncing in his seat. Mia sat up, her eyes widening in disbelief. Are you serious? That's amazing. This could be our chance to make a difference. Exactly. We need to prepare for the meeting. We have to tell him everything, Jordan replied, his mind racing with ideas. After they showered and dressed, they sat at the dining table with notebooks in front of them. They wanted to ensure they didn't miss anything important during their conversation with Ben. They brainstormed and wrote down key points they wanted to discuss. The humiliation we felt when we were turned away, Mia suggested, and how we saw other customers being treated differently. Jordan nodded, jotting it down. We should also talk about how this isn't just about us. It's about all the people who have faced discrimination. We need to make that clear. They continued to write, their passion growing with each point. They decided to share not only their experience but also their hopes for the future, what they wished to see in the restaurant industry and society as a whole. By the time they finished, it was nearly noon. They felt ready for the meeting, but there was still some time before they needed to leave. Jordan suggested they take a walk in the park to clear their heads. As they strolled through the park, the sun shining down, they talked about their lives, their dreams, and what this opportunity might mean for them. What if we could inspire others to stand up against racism? Maya said, her eyes bright with hope. That would be incredible, Jordan agreed. We could create a movement. We could encourage people to speak out when they see injustice. They returned home with a renewed sense of purpose. Jordan felt a strong determination to not only share their story, but also to empower others. They spent the rest of the day preparing for the meeting, making sure they were confident and ready to speak about their experience. The next day arrived quickly, and Jordan and Mia dressed smartly for their meeting with Ben. Jordan wore a blazer and dress shoes, while Mia chose a professional yet stylish outfit. They wanted to make a good impression. As they drove to Ben's office, they felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. What if he doesn't take us seriously? Maya asked, biting her lip. He will. Our story is powerful, Jordan reassured her. We have to believe in ourselves and the importance of what we are doing. They arrived at the office, a sleek building with large glass windows. Jordan parked the car, and they took a deep breath before stepping inside. The receptionist greeted them and led them to a conference room where Ben was waiting. Ben was a tall man with graying hair and a warm smile. Jordan, Mia, thank you for coming. I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me, he said as they shook hands. Thank you for having us, Jordan replied, feeling a bit more at ease. Please, have a seat. I read your email, and I must say, it's a powerful story. I want to hear everything, Ben encouraged. As they sat down, Mia felt a rush of confidence. They shared their experience, explaining how they felt humiliated and rejected at the restaurant. They spoke about the unfair treatment they witnessed and how it affected them. Ben listened intently, nodding and taking notes. This is exactly the kind of story that needs to be told, he said. Many people face similar situations, and it's crucial to shed light on these issues. After they finished recounting their experience, Ben asked, "What do you hope to achieve by sharing your story?" Jordan glanced at Mia, then spoke up. "We want to raise awareness about racism in restaurants and encourage others to stand up against discrimination. We believe that change can happen if we all speak out." Ben smiled. "That's a powerful message. I'd like to help you share your story through my column. Together, we can make a difference." Jordan and Mia exchanged hopeful glances, feeling a surge of excitement. They were ready to take their fight against injustice to a broader audience, and with Ben's help, they knew their voices would be heard. Little did they know, the response to their story would bring unexpected challenges and adventures that would test their resolve in ways they never imagined. The fallout. After their meeting with Ben, Harper, Jordan, and Mia felt a sense of accomplishment. They had shared their story, and Ben was excited to help them spread the word. But as they left his office, reality set in. They were about to embark on a journey that would not only test their strength, but also challenge their beliefs about the world around them. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Ben published their story, titled, "The Truth Behind the Door: A Couple's Fight Against Racism in Dining." The article went viral almost overnight. People from all over the city commented on it, sharing their own experiences and frustrations with discrimination. Jordan and Mia found themselves in the spotlight. They received phone calls from various news outlets, asking for interviews. At first, they were thrilled. Their story was resonating with so many people, and they felt empowered. But soon, the attention became overwhelming. One afternoon, as they sat in their living room surrounded by papers and notes for an upcoming interview, the phone rang. It was a reporter from a popular news station. "Hello, is this Jordan and Mia? We'd love to have you on our evening news segment. Can you come down to the studio in an hour?" Jordan looked at Mia, their eyes wide with disbelief. "We should do it. This is our chance to reach even more people," he said, his excitement bubbling over. Mia hesitated. "I don't know, Jordan. What if they twist our words? What if they don't understand our message?" Jordan took her hand and squeezed it gently. "We'll be careful. We just have to stay true to our story. We can do this together." After a moment of silence, Mia nodded, her confidence returning. "Okay, let's do it." They rushed to get ready, their hearts pounding with a mix of nerves and anticipation. As they drove to the studio, Mia couldn't shake off a feeling of unease. What if this changes everything? What if we're not ready for the fallout? She asked, glancing at Jordan. "Whatever happens, we'll handle it together," he reassured her. "This is important. We're doing this for everyone who has felt the same way we did." When they arrived at the studio, they were met by a cheerful producer who led them to the set. The bright lights and cameras made Maya's stomach flutter, but she reminded herself of their purpose. They were here to share their truth. The host greeted them warmly and introduced them to the audience. As the interview began, Jordan spoke passionately about their experience at the restaurant, while Mia chimed in with her insights. They discussed the discrimination they faced and the importance of standing up against such injustices. But just as the segment was wrapping up, the host asked a question that caught them off guard. With your story going viral, have you received any backlash from the restaurant or its owner? Mia felt her heart race. She hadn't considered that aspect. Not yet. But we're prepared for it, she replied, trying to maintain her composure. The host smiled, but Jordan could see the concern in Mia's eyes. As they left the studio, he sensed her anxiety. Hey, you did great. I know it was nerve-wracking, but we got our message out there, he said, trying to lift her spirits. I know, but what if the restaurant fights back? What if they try to ruin our reputations? She replied, her voice shaky. Let's focus on the positive. We're raising awareness, and that's what matters, he encouraged. However, the next morning brought unexpected news. Social media exploded with comments, both supportive and hostile. While many applauded Jordan and Mia for their bravery, others criticized them, claiming they were just seeking attention or stirring trouble. Jordan and Mia spent the day responding to messages, both good and bad. They tried to ignore the negativity, but it was hard. One comment stood out. You're just playing the race card. Stop trying to ruin a good restaurant's reputation. Mia felt a lump in her throat. Do you think we made a mistake? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. No, we did the right thing, Jordan insisted, trying to remain positive. We're giving a voice to those who feel silenced. We can't let the negativity get to us. Despite his encouragement, Mia struggled with doubt. The stress of the backlash weighed heavily on her. That night, she lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. What if this leads to more hate? What if people come after us? Jordan, sensing her distress, turned to her. Mia, we can't control what others think or say. All we can do is stay true to ourselves and continue fighting for what's right. The next day, they received another email from Ben. I've been following the story closely, and I want to help you navigate the backlash. Let's meet again to discuss how we can turn this negativity into a positive movement, it read. Mia felt a spark of hope. Maybe he can help us find a way through this, she said, her eyes lighting up. Yes, let's meet with him and see what we can do, Jordan agreed, feeling reassured. As they prepared for their meeting with Ben, they realized they were in this together. The challenges they faced only strengthened their resolve to speak out against discrimination. They knew the road ahead would be tough, but they were ready to face whatever came their way. Together, they would turn their pain into power, hoping to inspire others to join them in their fight against injustice. Little did they know that this journey would lead to even greater challenges and a deeper understanding of the impact their story could have on their community. The rallying cry. As Jordan and Mia stepped into Ben's office, they were met with a warm smile and a firm handshake. I'm glad to see you both again, he said, gesturing for them to take a seat. I've been following your story closely, and I want to help you make the most of this moment. Jordan sat forward, eager to hear Ben's ideas. We appreciate your support, Ben. The backlash has been intense, and we want to ensure we're doing the right thing. Ben nodded. It's great that you're raising awareness, but it's also important to focus on the positive impact you can make. I think we should organize a community event, a rally to discuss racism and discrimination in our city. It'll give people a platform to share their experiences and unite against injustice. Mia's eyes widened. That sounds amazing. But what if people come to disrupt it? What if we face more backlash? Ben smiled reassuringly. That's a possibility, but it's also an opportunity. You'll have the chance to show that the community stands together against hate. We can prepare for any negativity that comes our way. Your voices matter, and this rally could inspire others to join your fight. Jordan felt a surge of excitement. Yes, let's do it. We can share our story and encourage others to speak up. Over the next few weeks, Jordan, Mia, and Ben worked tirelessly to organize the event. They reached out to local organizations, schools, and community leaders, inviting them to participate. They created flyers and posted on social media, spreading the word about the rally. As the day of the event approached, the excitement in the community grew. People began to share their own stories of discrimination, and many expressed their eagerness to attend the rally. However, Jordan and Mia also noticed an increase in negative comments online. Some people threatened to disrupt the event, claiming it was a ploy for attention. Mia felt anxious as they read through the messages. What if someone tries to hurt us or cause chaos? She worried. I don't want anyone to get hurt. Jordan took her hand and squeezed it gently. We'll have security and a plan in place. This is about creating a safe space for people to share their experiences. We can't let fear stop us from doing what's right. The day of the rally arrived, and the sun shone brightly over the park where they had gathered. A large crowd formed, filled with families, friends, and supporters. Banners and signs with powerful messages about unity and equality decorated the area. Jordan and Mia stood at the front, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. This is it, Jordan said, looking at the crowd. We're making history today. Ben stepped up to the microphone, addressing the crowd. Thank you all for being here today. This rally is about more than just one couple's story. It's about standing together against racism and discrimination. Let your voices be heard. The crowd erupted into cheers, and Maya felt her heart swell with pride. She couldn't believe how many people had come together to support their cause. It was overwhelming and beautiful. As the speakers took turns sharing their experiences, Maya listened intently. Stories of discrimination, resilience, and hope filled the air. Each story connected them all, weaving a tapestry of shared struggles and triumphs. When it was finally Jordan and Mia's turn to speak, they stepped up to the microphone. Thank you all for being here, Jordan began, his voice strong. Mia and I shared our story to shine a light on the injustices we faced, but we're not alone. Together, we can fight against hate and discrimination. Mia took a deep breath, her heart racing. It's important to remember that our experiences do not define us. We have the power to change the narrative and create a better future for everyone. Let's stand together and make our voices heard. The crowd erupted into applause, and Maya felt a wave of empowerment wash over her. This was why they were here, to inspire change and unite people against discrimination. Suddenly, a group of individuals approached the stage, waving their own signs with messages opposing the rally. Mia's heart sank as she recognized the faces of those who had commented negatively on social media. Fear washed over her. Jordan, what do we do? She whispered. Stay calm. We have security here, he reassured her, though his own heart raced. As the group shouted derogatory remarks, the crowd began to respond with chants of unity. Love, not hate, they cried, drowning out the negativity. Then stepped in front of the microphone again. This is what it's about. We will not be silenced by hate. Let's continue to stand together for love and acceptance. The crowd roared with support, and the opposing group slowly retreated, realizing their attempts to disrupt the event were futile. Maya felt a surge of relief wash over her. We did it. We stood our ground, she exclaimed, tears of joy filling her eyes. As the rally continued, people shared their experiences, their hopes, and their dreams for a better world. Jordan and Mia felt the power of community surrounding them, reinforcing their resolve to keep fighting against discrimination. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park, Maya looked at Jordan, her heart filled with hope. This is just the beginning, isn't it? She asked, her voice filled with determination. Jordan nodded, smiling. Yes, it is. We have so much work to do, but together, we can make a difference. The rally was a success, a testament to the strength of their community. They had turned their pain into power, their fear into courage. They knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but they were ready to face it together, united in their fight against injustice. The aftermath. The following days after the rally were a whirlwind for Jordan and Mia. News outlets picked up their story, showcasing not only their brave stand against the restaurant owner, but also the overwhelming support from the community. Social media buzzed with hashtags like #StandWithJordan and Mia and #UnityAndDiversity, spreading their message far and wide. As they sat together in their living room, surrounded by the warmth of their friends and family, Jordan glanced at his phone, which lit up with notifications. "Look at this, Mia. People are sharing their own stories of discrimination and how they've overcome it. It's incredible." Mia smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "I never imagined our experience would inspire so many others. It feels like we're part of something much bigger now." However, with the newfound attention also came a darker side. They noticed a rise in negative comments and threats directed at them online. Some people dismissed their story as a publicity stunt or claimed they were overreacting. The couple had to remind themselves that they couldn't please everyone. One evening, as they prepared dinner, Mia turned to Jordan, her face lined with concern. "Do you think we're in over our heads? Sometimes it feels like we've opened a can of worms." Jordan placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "It's natural to feel that way. We've exposed ourselves, and that can be scary. But we're doing this for a reason. We need to keep pushing forward, even if it's hard." Despite their apprehension, they decided to channel the negativity into something positive. They reached out to local schools and community centers, offering to speak about their experiences and encourage open discussions on race and discrimination. Their first speaking engagement was at a local high school, where they faced a gym full of eager students. Mia felt a mix of nerves and excitement. As they shared their story, Jordan spoke about the importance of standing up against injustice, no matter how difficult it may be. "Don't be afraid to speak out," he urged the students. "Your voice matters, and together, we can create change. It starts with all of you." After their presentation, a group of students approached them, eager to ask questions. One student, a young girl with big brown eyes, looked up at them. "How did you find the courage to stand up in the first place?" Mia smiled at her. "Courage isn't about not being scared. It's about doing what you believe is right, even when you are afraid. We all have that strength inside us." The students thanked them, and as they left, Maya felt a sense of fulfillment. They were making a difference, one conversation at a time. As the weeks went by, they continued to speak at various events, each time drawing larger crowds and more media attention. They also began collaborating with local organizations focused on racial equality, brainstorming ways to implement programs that foster understanding and inclusivity in the community. However, amidst the growing support, they couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Jordan often noticed strange cars parked outside their home, or people loitering nearby. One evening, as they returned from a community meeting, Maya turned to Jordan, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you think someone is following us?" He frowned, scanning their surroundings. "It's possible. We should be cautious. Let's make sure we're not alone when we go out." With the fear of retaliation looming over them, they made a plan to bolster their security. They spoke with Ben, who advised them to take their concerns seriously. "You've drawn a lot of attention, and not all of it is positive. It's better to be safe than sorry." They installed security cameras around their home and started varying their daily routines. Although it felt odd to be on high alert, they knew it was necessary to protect themselves. As they prepared for another speaking event, this time at a community forum discussing local racism, Maya felt a knot of anxiety tighten in her stomach. What if something happens? What if those people who threatened us show up? Jordan took her hand, reassuring her. "We'll have security there, and even if they do show up, we won't back down. We have to stand strong." The day of the forum arrived, and as they entered the packed room, they could feel the energy in the air. It was charged with anticipation and unity. The audience was filled with people from all walks of life, eager to learn and discuss the issues at hand. When it was their turn to speak, Jordan looked at Mia, both of them exchanging determined glances. They stepped up to the microphone, ready to share their story once more. As they spoke, Mia noticed a few familiar faces in the crowd, supporters who had attended their previous events. It gave her the strength to continue. Together, we can create a better future. We can break the cycle of hatred and discrimination. We have to fight for a world where everyone is treated equally. After their presentation, they opened the floor for questions. A man in the back stood up, his voice shaky. "What if people disagree with you? What if they fight back?" Jordan responded, "Change is never easy. There will always be resistance, but that's why we must stand united. We cannot let fear silence us." The conversation continued, with passionate voices joining in, sharing their experiences and ideas for change. It was a powerful moment, a reminder that they were not alone in their fight. As the night wore on, Jordan and Mia felt a renewed sense of purpose. The rallying cries of their community filled their hearts with hope, despite the challenges they faced. They had turned their pain into a powerful movement, one that was inspiring others to speak out and stand up against injustice. Leaving the forum, Maya turned to Jordan, her spirit lifted. "No matter what happens next, we're making the difference." Jordan smiled back, knowing they had each other, and that together they would continue to fight for what was right. The threat. As the days passed after the community forum, Jordan and Mia felt a mix of exhilaration and anxiety. They had successfully shared their story and received an outpouring of support, but the lingering threat of retaliation hung over them like a dark cloud. One rainy afternoon, as they returned home from a meeting, Maya noticed a black SUV parked across the street. It had been there for the past few days, always watching. "Do you see that car again?" she asked Jordan, her voice tense. Jordan nodded, furrowing his brow. "Yeah, it's definitely the same one. I don't like it. Let's stay alert." They decided to call Ben for advice. "You're not being paranoid," he assured them when they explained the situation. "You should report it to the police. And keep your phone charged. You might need to document anything unusual." Feeling uneasy, they called the local police station. Officer Rodriguez listened attentively as they explained their concerns. "We'll send someone to check it out. If it's just someone parking there, it's no big deal. But if they're bothering you, we'll take it seriously." Later that evening, as they sat on their couch, their hearts raced at every noise outside. Jordan glanced at the window. "If they're out there, they'll see us. We should turn off the lights," he suggested. They dimmed the lights and sat quietly in the dark, listening for any sounds that could signal trouble. The rain pelted against the window, adding to the tension in the air. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. "Who could that be?" Mia whispered, her heart pounding. Jordan got up cautiously, peeking through the peephole. "It's just Officer Rodriguez," he said, relief washing over him. He opened the door to find the officer standing there, her face serious. "Good evening. We checked out the SUV. It seems to belong to a private security company. They were hired to watch you," she explained. "You're not in trouble, but we recommend you stay vigilant. If you notice anything suspicious, call us immediately." Jordan and Mia exchanged worried glances. "We appreciate the help, officer. We just want to feel safe," Jordan replied. Officer Rodriguez nodded. "I understand. It's important to keep your guard up. We're here to help if anything happens." After a few more reassuring words, she left, leaving the couple to wonder what would come next. That night, sleep eluded them. They lay in bed, tossing and turning, thoughts racing through their minds. Mia finally broke the silence. "What if they're just waiting for the right moment to strike?" "We can't let fear control us," Jordan replied, trying to be strong. "We have to keep speaking out, keep sharing our story. We can't let them silence us." In the days that followed, they continued their speaking engagements, but they noticed an undercurrent of tension during their presentations. It was as if the threat lingered in the air, dulling their excitement. At one event, a woman approached them after they spoke. "I admire your courage, but are you sure it's safe for you to keep doing this?" Jordan smiled, but he felt a knot of worry in his stomach. "We have to speak up. If we don't, who will?" Their dedication to their cause kept them going. But each night, the SUV seemed to be a constant reminder of the risks they faced. One evening, as they returned from an event, the SUV was parked closer to their home. Jordan felt a surge of anger. "This is getting out of hand. They can't keep watching us like this." Mia nodded in agreement. "Maybe we should document everything. Take pictures. Keep a log of their movements. It might help if we need to involve the police again." Over the next few days, they kept a record of the SUV's presence. Every time they noticed it parked near their home or following them, they noted the date and time. They shared their concerns with Ben, who suggested they hire a personal security guard to help them feel safer. That weekend, they met with a local security firm. The owner, a burly man named Tom, listened as they explained their situation. "We can provide you with someone who will be discreet, but always watch your back," he assured them. Feeling a mix of relief and apprehension, they agreed to hire a guard. Tom introduced them to a kind but strong woman named Lisa, who would accompany them to events and stay close when they were out in public. With Lisa by their side, they felt more secure. She was vigilant, always scanning the area and ensuring their safety. Maya felt a sense of calm wash over her when Lisa was nearby. However, one day, as they prepared for another speaking engagement, Mia noticed that Lisa seemed tense. "What's wrong?" she asked, concerned. "I think I saw someone from that SUV at the last event," Lisa replied, her voice low. "I'm not sure, but they were taking pictures." Fear gripped Mia's heart. "What do we do?" "Stay alert," Lisa said firmly. "We need to be cautious. If anything feels off tonight, we'll get out of there." As they arrived at the event, Mia's anxiety spiked. The crowd buzzed with excitement, but she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She scanned the audience, looking for any signs of trouble. When it was their turn to speak, Maya took a deep breath. "No matter what happens, we have to stay strong," she whispered to Jordan. As they shared their story once again, Mia noticed a figure in the back of the room, a familiar silhouette she couldn't shake. Her heart raced. What if it was someone from the SUV? After their speech, they mingled with the audience, but Mia's mind was racing. She kept glancing toward the back of the room, where the figure had been. It was time to leave, but fear gripped her. Jordan noticed her unease. "Let's head out," he said gently, sensing her worry. As they made their way to the exit, the tension was palpable. Would the figure follow them? Would they finally confront the threat that had loomed over them for so long? Mia took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next. She knew they had to stay united and brave, no matter what challenges lay ahead. Together, they would find a way to keep pushing forward, standing strong in their fight for justice. The showdown, the following days, felt like an eternity for Jordan and Mia. The threat of the mysterious SUV and the figure that had watched them from the back of the room lingered in their minds. They continued their speaking engagements with Lisa, their security guard, by their side, but the anxiety of being hunted never left them. One afternoon, while they were home, Maya received a call from Ben. "I have some news," he said, his voice serious. "I found out who owns the SUV." Mia's heart raced. "Who is it?" "It's a private investigator named Greg Morrison," Ben explained. "He's been hired by someone to keep tabs on you. I don't know who, but it's not just a random thing. He's trying to gather information." The revelation hit Mia like a ton of bricks. Why would someone want to investigate us? We're just speaking out against racism. "I think they want to intimidate you," Ben replied. "But you can't back down now. You have a voice, and people need to hear your story. Let's confront this together." Jordan took the phone from Mia. "What do you suggest we do?" "We need to figure out who hired him. Then we can take the fight back to them." Ben said, sounding determined. With that, Jordan and Mia decided to attend another community event that evening. It was a gathering where local leaders would discuss civil rights issues. They hoped to gather support and maybe find out more about who was behind the investigators' actions. As they arrived, Maya felt a mix of excitement and fear. The room buzzed with energy as community members gathered to discuss important topics. They spotted Ben across the room and made their way to him. "Glad you made it," Ben said, smiling but with a serious edge to his expression. "I have some contacts who might know more about Morrison." They exchanged pleasantries and shared their concerns. As the event progressed, Jordan and Mia listened carefully to the discussions, their eyes scanning the crowd for any familiar faces or signs of trouble. Suddenly, Mia caught sight of a tall man standing near the entrance. He was wearing a dark suit and seemed to be watching them intently. "Jordan, look over there," she whispered, nudging him. "Is that?" Jordan squinted, his heart racing. "It looks like the guy from the back of the room." Without hesitation, they moved closer, wanting to confront him. The man turned as they approached, and Mia's breath caught in her throat. It was Greg Morrison, the private investigator. "Can we help you?" Jordan asked, his voice steady but filled with tension. Morrison smirked, a cold glint in his eye. "Just doing my job, folks. You've stirred up quite the buzz in town." Mia stepped forward, her voice firm. "We're not afraid of you or what you're trying to do. We're fighting for justice." He chuckled, leaning back against the wall. "You think that makes a difference. People like you are always looking to make a scene, but you don't understand the power you're up against." Jordan clenched his fists, anger boiling beneath the surface. "You're trying to intimidate us, but we won't be silenced. We have a right to speak out against injustice." Morrison's demeanor shifted slightly, his amusement fading. "Be careful, young man. People in power don't like to be challenged. You're playing with fire." Before Jordan could respond, Lisa appeared behind them, her presence commanding. "I think it's time you left these two alone," she said, her voice low and steady. Morrison's eyes darted to Lisa, weighing his options. "I'm just gathering information. No harm in that, right?" Lisa stepped closer, her gaze unflinching. "They're not your subjects to control. Leave now, or I will involve the police." With a huff, Morrison straightened his suit jacket. "Fine, but this isn't over." He turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Mia let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. "Did that just happen?" Jordan nodded, still processing the encounter. "I can't believe he actually came here." Ben joined them, concern etched on his face. "Are you two okay?" "I saw the confrontation. You were brave." "We're fine," Maya replied, though her hands trembled slightly. "But this just makes me more determined to keep fighting." "Good," Ben said, his voice filled with conviction. "You have support, and you're not alone. We'll figure out who hired him." As the night continued, they mingled with supporters, sharing their story and gathering strength from the community around them. The energy in the room was electric, filled with people who believed in change and justice. In the following weeks, Jordan and Mia worked tirelessly to share their message. They received invitations to speak at schools, churches, and community centers. Each engagement felt empowering, as they inspired others to stand up against racism. But even as they made progress, the threat of Morrison and the mysterious forces behind him loomed. They remained vigilant, knowing that they had to protect themselves while continuing their fight for justice. One evening, as they prepared for another speaking event, Jordan received a call from Ben. "I found out who hired Morrison. It's someone from the restaurant where you were humiliated." Mia's eyes widened. "Are you serious? They want to silence us because we spoke out." "Yeah," Ben said. "But this means we have a way to fight back. We can gather evidence and expose them." Fueled by determination, they met with Ben to plan their next steps. They knew that they had to be strategic, and they needed to keep speaking out to raise awareness. As they faced the growing threat, they also found strength in each other and their community. They were not just a couple standing against injustice. They had become leaders, inspiring others to join their cause. And with each event, each story shared, they moved closer to the truth, ready to take a stand against those who tried to silence them. Together, they would confront the injustice they faced, and no threat would stop them from fighting for what was right.